What's up, guys? Today I have the honor of connecting with Humble Hustle Coffee. Our guests thrive on educating the community about what third wave coffee is. You can find them across the Washington Irving Library. Look out for the Rainbow Rabbit Table. How you guys doing today?
We're good.
Yeah,
Awesome. How was your day?
it was long. This heat, work, long.
Yeah, mine was actually pretty chill. I can't complain today. I usually have like long, rough days also, but today was a good day, and I'm thanking God for that. I needed that.
Well, what does your day look like?
So I still work at Starbucks, so I normally am the opener at Starbucks, and then once I go to Starbucks, I come home, do whatever I need to around the house, and then it kind of jumps into doing whatever I need to do for like Humble Hustle, whether it's making syrups, researching more syrups, looking at the people's information that they've given us that we've partnered with to know what I'm telling our clientele when they come up to our little table setup. It's always just continuing to do more. So I really don't take a break if that's what you
Yeah. And that's what it takes sometimes, you know? What about you, D? Well, how's your day?
Today, wow. Well, today was a chill one, so it's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, today was a chill Wednesday. I usually, it's kind of always on the go. Depending on how my schedule is, I work at Demitas. So there's days that I open, most of the time I close, like I'm a closer. But usually it starts with like my dogs. I'm a dog mom. So
Nice.
I got two big old dogs that need to get like super exercise because they're super energetic. So
Amazing.
that, and then yeah, today I went to work. I went to work. I thought it was gonna be kind of busy because it's kind of hot, and I'm like near the beach, right there in Wilshire. And it's usually really busy on hot days, but luckily today I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. I needed this. So it was steady. It was steady today.
Nice. So Danny's still working at Starbucks and D working at Demitas in Santa Monica. So you guys have your regular 9 to 5 schedule, and then you guys do humble coffee after.
Well, we both work two jobs. So
Yeah.
I work at Starbucks, and then I also work at a coffee shop in Hollywood called the Rise and Grind.
And I work Demitas, and I also work for Tectonic.
Wow. So where does humble coffee fall
Whenever
then?
we have free time, that's our
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. That's why we're kind of a pop-up right now, because we're working around our schedule literally. Like if we go in late, we'll pop up in the morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then we'll pack up everything, and then we'll go to our job.
Wow.
And so it's like a 14-hour day for us.
You guys are definitely entrepreneurs, you know?
Yeah,
We're dedicated to our craft. I
it
think
was-
it's fair to say.
I got called out like the first time last week, and I was just like, I took it in. I was like, holy shit, can we curse? Sorry. Can we
Yeah, you can curse. You
Okay. I was like, holy shit, like, wow, we're becoming entrepreneurs, like,
yeah.
and it kind of felt nice to like get acknowledged by that, it's because usually it's just like, oh, they're just, popping up, it's just hustle, but not, dude.
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs.
They're seeing us as like regulars now in the community, and they're like, oh, like we see you Saturdays, you come other days, and we're like, nah. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, we see you, and we're like,
yeah, they're like, are you gonna
Everyone
post up every day? We're like we wish we could, and we really want to, and we will get there someday, but no, because we have to work around our schedule, and whenever we're here is because we either have a few hours in the morning free, or we have the day off,
Yeah.
So
Dope. Well, what about your background? Tell me a little bit about your background. Let's start with Danny. How did
Andy.
Andy? Sorry.
No, you're good. I was like, wait, my wife is named Andy. That's why I was like, oh, like, no, you're good. I'm not from LA. I'm from up north. I'm from a small town called Watsonville. So, like, we're a very migrant town. We're known for our agriculture. Everything that comes from, like, where I'm from is what you guys normally eat in other towns and cities. We're known for our strawberries. Town over is known for their lettuce. Yeah. So I grew up with an agriculture family. My family picked, and I kind of just followed like this little path of like being like my family. I would get in trouble in school, go pick strawberries, and have to pay my uncle to let me pick the strawberries. So I never got
Yeah.
income from it. And then kind of just try to follow my own path while still following my family's like ideology of what life is, following like gangs, things like that. And about 7 years ago, I met my wife, and that kind of shifted my entire life, my entire like habits, everything. And then about 3 years ago, we moved out to LA. She's from here. She's born and raised here. And yeah, we moved out here, and that's really it.
Nice.
Like, I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
So you've been in agriculture. So like family that comes from farming and all that stuff.
Yeah, when my mom and my grandma and my grandma's husband came to the States, they picked lettuce, they picked strawberries. My sister, for a while, she picked grapes. I used to live in Delano for a while of my life, a good part of my life, and she was picking grapes. They would pick oranges. So a lot of my family did pick. And
Amazing.
we got to grow up and like seeing the hard work ethic that
Yeah.
came with it.
And what about you, D?
I'm an LA girl. I'm born and raised here in LA. In K-Town, I guess you could say, but we like to call it La Comunidad Salvadoreña, where the Salvadorian corridor is. That's my hood. But yeah, I was born and raised here. I've been I haven't really been outside of LA. I don't know, a little background about myself. I just so I kind of grew up like in a strict household. I am kind of, I guess you could say, like the black sheep, the wild child of the family. I'm definitely like more like, oh, I wanna do my own thing, and I wanna have fun, and I wanna learn my own way, you know. Like I want to do what I want to do. If you're born here in LA, like you know what it is. It's very city. It could get very hood. It could you know, you got everything. You got. I mean, I love it because you got everything. Like, you got the ocean, you got the hood, you got Hollywood, you got, you know, the valleys. I'm definitely a city LA downtown girl. But yeah, my parents. I come from two immigrant parents. I'm first gen Salvi out here, and I actually this is kind of why I wanted to go this way into humble hustle, into educating. But yeah, my dad's a bus driver. He's been driving MTA for 27 years since I was a little girl, and my mom, she's a stay-at-home mom, very religious, very strict. And that's the kind of household we grew up in. I started working really young. I graduated high school. I got into this program to try to graduate high school a little faster. So I kind of like I went hardcore into school. Like I was going to school from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to try to just get out of high school. I was like, I don't want to do school no more. I just want to get out of here. And I want to start working because I wanted to like just do my own thing and not have to depend on my parents because they had all this other stuff going on. I have siblings, so it's not that easy to have a bigger household.
No, yeah, just like you guys. I mean, I come from immigrant parents too, and moving out here. I mean, I was born and raised in Mexico. Okay. So my mentality. I'm actually from Oaxaca, Mexico.
Okay.
So I was born and raised there. Moved out here when I was 11 years old, and yeah, it was hard just to leave all my friends behind and learn the new culture here. You know, it was pretty tough. But one thing that Andy mentioned is the work ethic, and same thing with you. I myself started working while I was in high school to try to help my family, which is my parents, try to pay rent, pay bills, and all that stuff. So, yeah. But what about you two? How'd you guys meet?
Such a funny story. We met through a friend of mine. Her sister is married to Andy.
Yeah.
And we met at a hiking trip, actually. Like, we did like this group hiking trip.
Like right in the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, like pre-COVID or yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of
Might have been pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, beginning of COVID, I don't know.
Yeah, it was, but yeah, we met at a hiking trip and we were like talking about everything, and then randomly we started talking about coffee. I was like, hey, where do you work? She was like, oh, I work at Starbucks. I was like, oh.
And then it was just like down the rabbit hole.
Because I've been anti-corporation. I don't want to say just Starbucks. Yeah, I'm anti-corporation, you know? So when she told me that, I was like, oh, no, wait, did you know that this and this and this and this and this, and Starbucks does this and this and this and this, and they take advantage of people like this and this and this? And she was like, yeah, fuck them. And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm like, I work there because I have to.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's cool. And then we just hit it off. We talked for like an hour about coffee. Like the whole hiking trip, we just talked coffee.
Yeah.
Like what kind of coffees we like, what kind of coffees we've tried.
We got to bore each other the way we get to bore our significant others.
And they were both there. My boyfriend and her wife were there.
And they were kind of bonding over like, we don't got to deal with this no more.
Yeah, they were like, finally.
They're like, you two just walk together.
Yeah, they were like, oh man, this is so good because all they talk about is coffee.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was like, that's what's up. And we just stayed in communication. Like, we stayed communicating, like texting. And then she started her own little project.
Yeah, I started roasting. Like, during COVID, I was like, I'm going to teach myself. She taught me, like, one of her methods.
I do skillet roasting.
And then from there, I was like, all right, well, I've seen people do it this way, let's try it out. Started a small little roasting. And it was aimed towards gamers and like people who play video games, people who play like Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, man, like this isn't kind of what I really want to do. Like I feel like I have to stick specifically with like gaming aspects. So then I was talking about it with G one day and I was like, fuck, like let's just go into business together. And then she didn't text back. And I was like, oh shit, like fuck. And then she's like, if you're down, I'm down. And I was like, let's do that. And I was telling my wife, like, I'm so scared. Like, what if she doesn't want me my friend no more because, like, she doesn't like the idea that I said it. And then she texted me back, and I was like, oh, shit, like, let's do this. Like, we have the same exact vision of wanting to help, like, our parents' homeland and, like, our motherland.
Like, give a little piece back, you know?
Yeah.
We don't have all the riches in the world, and we're not balling like that, you know? But we're starting in one, you know? We're starting somewhere. And it's hitting what we both feel like it's, you know. Okay, but prior to that, I didn't hit her up because I hadn't hit her up that fast first because I was working.
I was so scared.
and I also do think about things, you know. I do like when I go into things, I like to sit and think about it. Sometimes I've been like so spontaneous and been like, fuck it, let's do it, you know. But I was like, I had a really big feeling about this, you know, her asking me that. And I was like, well, let me think about it. And I was like, I really, really want to do it. But I was like, let me think. But I was already, you know, since she asked me, I was like, wow. I never had anyone be so into coffee and want to be so, you know.
Well, it is something you guys are both passionate on. So,
yeah. Well, I guess I've never met anyone so close to me. Like, I guess I want to see distance-wise and, like, friend-wise and stuff like that. Be into, like, have that passion for coffee.
Yeah. I do believe that, like, I've met a lot of baristas because I also work as a barista myself. And most of the baristas I talk to, you know, the ultimate goal and the ultimate dream is to work for yourself and have something that will, you know, you'll dedicate your time mostly to, like in your case, Humble Hustle Coffee. So before even starting this idea, like, do you individually had the idea to like eventually say open your own coffee shop or?
Yeah, for me, yeah.
So for me, I was actually gonna open my own coffee shop about 2 years ago. I was actually gonna go for it. I had the funds for it. I had like drive. I was with it, you know. But I wanted to educate myself more about coffee before I thought about it like I do with most things. I just like sat back one day and I was like, well, I don't want to open up a coffee shop and not be able to explain what this and this is, where this coffee from, what's supposed to taste like, what, like the background of coffee, not just here's your latte, cool, enjoy it,
Yeah.
I wanted to know the background of it, where it comes from, how much it costs, how long it takes, who works it, and so that kind of like set me back. And then life happened. I lost those funds, and I stayed with the idea like I'm gonna do it. I have to rebuild, and I have to like get that passion back because I kind of like I got discouraged a little, and then she came along really, and kind of like
Yeah. So she was the push.
Yeah, she honestly, and I tell her that I'm like, dang, that's all I needed was like a little push for us to have, to get this going.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like the dynamic duo. You're sort of like a little more methodical, and she's more of like spontaneous or like let's.
Yeah, for sure. And it's freaking cool because it works out like, like I think about things in the future for the long run, business wise, and she thinks about things that'll attract people that are funner, the creative side,
Yeah.
And that's definitely it's moving. Like we complement each other, I guess, in that way.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
And why coffee? How did you guys get involved with coffee?
There was a coffee shop I went to back home, and I was like, wow, this coffee is really good. And I ended up talking to the barista there for like 45 minutes. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, thank you for giving me all of this information that I've never known about. Because, like, my idea of coffee was you get a Mr. Coffee, you throw a cinnamon stick in the filter, and it runs through, and you're good. That will get you through your day. And I went there, and I just got a regular coffee. And this was probably in like 2010 when I was graduating high school. And I was like, all right, let's try this. And then I tried it. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. Never went back, never touched it, never got into it. We went to a coffee shop, my wife and I, she had a study for school, and we were there. And something just like clicked. I don't know what it was. I was able to drink this coffee. No sugar, no cream, nothing. And then from that moment, down the rabbit hole I went, because the minute I like something, there's no putting the brakes on. I will go down this rabbit hole. I will go every back page there is about it and try to find stuff. And I started with the French press, and then it just elevated. It just kept going, and I was like, oh my God. And my wife is like, stop bringing coffee stuff into this house. I'm like, no, it's not. We need to figure out how it tastes and like different methods. And
so in 2010, when you tried this coffee, would you consider that to be the very first time you actually tasted coffee? Or when do you recall being the first time to ever notice coffee?
So as a kid, we drink like imitation coffee, the way I like putting it in the pot and all of that. And I feel like it's really watered down. So when I went into this coffee shop, it first attracted me because it didn't look like a Starbucks. It literally had no like caramel macchiato, no fraps. It was literally like coffees, chai teas, latte, and then it was a cappuccino, and I think like an espresso macchiato. That was it. It wasn't like all of these fancy things. So I really tried it there, and then I was like, oh wow, like this is the first time I'm actually tasting coffee in a completely different way. I still sweetened it because I was like a child at that point, I think it's fair to say. Where it's like, oh, I want something sweet. Sweet's gonna help me get through the day. But when I fully experienced coffee was probably about 6 years ago. That's like when you were able to taste notes and taste that it didn't taste just like a full juice coffee.
Yeah.
But being in a Hispanic household, you're given coffee out of the room. They're like, here you go.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I grew up drinking café de olla too, but it's more like you said. Usually, by the time I received it, it had a lot of sugar, it had canela, and all that stuff. But a lot of people when they try coffee for the first time and they taste the bitterness, or when they drink it just black, they tend to stay away from it because they think it's bad coffee.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I kind of went into black coffee. I drove straight into it. Like I was working like a lot, so I started off with 7-Eleven coffee.
Nice.
And that was bomb for me. I was like, man, this coffee's strong, keeps me awake, and it keeps me going, you know?
Yeah.
And
99 cents.
yeah, and it was cheap as hell. I was broke. And
no, yeah, I remember Starbucks. I mean, I remember 7-Eleven coffee too. But here's the thing, right? Going into 7-Eleven, getting the coffee, but I would load it up with the French vanilla creamers.
So, mine was hazelnut. At first, it was hazelnut, and then it went to black coffee, and man, I don't know. For me, the love for coffee started at I guess I want to say my passion, not my like, because my like for coffee started a long time ago because I was been working. I worked at Sweet Lady Jane. They have lattes. It's not specialty, but they have that shit, you know. But it started when I went to El Cielito. There's this cafe called El Cielito Cafe, and I kind of just went in for a tasting. They were promoting like a tasting, and I was like, man, I want to see what that's about. Like, that's weird. I never seen or heard of a tasting. You know? This was about 2 years ago. Prior to that, I have been doing my research about coffee, but more about I want to say like the labor side of coffee, because I'm Salvadorian. My parents were telling me like, well, you know, out there it's hard. Like it's a hard job. Anyway, I researched. I went to El Cielito and I had that coffee tasting, and then they had representatives from a couple farms that started talking to us about coffee, the background of coffee, and what coffee should taste like, you know. And then that's where my love, like, actually, like, oh, I freaking love it. Like, I want to do this. I want to learn about it. I want to soak everything I can in about it.
Yeah.
Dang. Ever since then, I've been going to specialty coffee shops. It's huge for me. I like to visit smaller coffee shops because those are the ones that tend to actually have some of the best tasting coffees. You know.
Well, what about your first jobs? Was coffee one of your first jobs?
Mine was Freebird's World Burrito. Yeah, I was rolling burritos for my first job.
My first job I got so my first legal job at the age of 18 where I was able to work, I worked as a caregiver in an assisted living facility. But prior to that, working the fields and getting paid under the table as a child. And what we did, it was a way to help my uncle with his cost, and you know.
Ooh, wouldn't want to be in the fields right now with this heat, you know.
We do not. I remember some hot summers. I can only imagine the people out there right now.
Nice. What about the first coffee job for you guys? What was it?
Mine was a Sweet Lady Jane. Sweet Lady Jane Cafe or bakery. I think it's more of a bakery. They have a cafe on Montana and 17 in Santa Monica, and it was crazy. It definitely gave me tough skin to like learn how to work in coffee shops or in the hospitality industry because there was only males working there, and it was just me and like one other girl working there, and it was just because her brother was working there, so she got like the hookup. But that was my first coffee shop. That was my first coffee job.
The devil itself, I got hired there 2 years ago, and I've been at the same location for the last 2 years. That was the first job in coffee. Really just wanted to learn everything. I think right when I got hired was the end of their coffee master course where they teach you everything about coffee, from like the roasting aspect to basically going through an entire like academy, learning about the beans, the density, all of this stuff. So that was one of the big things that attracted me when I got hired because the interview was immediate. Like my manager was like, I'm not gonna bullshit you. you're hired. Do you want the job? I was like, well, I mean, I interviewed, right? Like, obviously I want it. So she was like, all right, this is the benefits, this is that. Starts telling me about this coffee master program. I'm like, oh, yeah, like, for sure. And then that came to an end, and I was like, well, sad.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that Dee mentioned was the whole thing of like being against corporate and stuff. You working for Starbucks, what would you say is the one thing that people misunderstand about like working for Starbucks? Because I feel like a lot of people that work for like third wave companies always have something to say about Starbucks.
I'm gonna be honest. I work there because I have to pay bills.
Got it.
I
But I mean,
their mission values. I don't believe in their coffee. I don't believe in anything that they stand for. And you know, like, I'm there because I have to be there. But the minute something else offers like an opportunity where I can get like similar pay, better hours, I'm out.
yeah. But when you say you're not about like what they stand for, like what is the one thing that you're against it? Or
I even though they took back the whole statement of you can't wear any BLM or anything that talks about Black Lives Matter, that really bothers me. We have Black partners, and they decided to make a T-shirt to be like, "Oh, we support Black lives," and it's like you clearly said something. You don't announce something that you don't believe in. You know, there's been talks of slave labor in the farms, not paying farmers fairly. I don't believe in this whole policy of we just need to get our customers to pay a higher price tag.
yeah.
So every week we get a prep talk about how we have to reach a certain number per ticket sale, and we need to push like vanilla, we need to push oat milk, we need to push this, and we have to like get their coffee super sugary for them to like make sales. And it's like, well, you know, you're potentially like fucking with people's like diabetes. You're the reason they're getting it at this point.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So like, I don't believe in all of that, but you know, I thought it was cool that they worked with sustainability, but then coming around that, they're not sustainable whatsoever. So it's so hard to stay with a company who says one thing in their mission and values and does the completely other thing.
But what about you too? Now that you guys decided to start Humble Hustle Coffee, like, what would you say is your mission and your values with this?
So we, yeah. So our mission goal, our mission goal really is to be able to educate our community, the Latino community, Black community. I don't want to say low income because not everyone's low income, you know, but mainly the surrounding communities, which is Black and Latino. We're just trying to educate them on what specialty coffee is. You feel me? Like where it comes from, why it's important to buy, you know, specialty coffee from smaller farms, or why to support smaller farms, or why to be a little more conscious about where you get your coffee, how it's supposed to taste. You know, we it's like really big for us because a lot of this coffee comes from, you know, Black and brown countries.
Correct.
And our own people aren't even getting the best of what they produce, and that's not for me. Personally, I don't want to say personally, but I think for both of us, that's not okay. It's unfair, you know. It's unfair that it's such a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you know the people that are working it, the people that are putting more work into it, aren't even being acknowledged, recognized, or being paid what they should be, you know, by corporate, by bigger companies. And it's not, I don't want to say Starbucks, you know, it's other.
It's all big corporations.
I'm talking, I'm not going to, you know, base myself on one, but, you know, it's almost sad to see, like, fui a El Salvador y vi todo, you know, like, I saw it, they told me how much they get paid per pound, you know, like, they told me how many hours they have to work a day, like, I was able to see it in person.
Yeah, no, I mean, I myself working for Groundwork Coffee, you know, they try to teach us a lot of like, you know, working from farm to table and stuff. And they did have a lot of discussions about how they work with different farms from different regions to try to help them, try to do sort of like a direct trade, or like farms are mostly females. But sometimes, like you said, these farmers are not getting, uh, they're not getting paid what they're supposed to for all this hard work. But that's because there's always the middleman, right?
Yeah.
Who distributes all these greens. So would you say that you guys are trying to do more of a direct trade, or you?
It's kind of cool. We actually have partnered with smaller farms. We partner with representatives that represent their families' farms back home, and it's the first year that they're bringing coffee in to the U.S. from El Salvador and from Guatemala. Um, we So technically, there is no middleman for us. We're directly working with the families. We know that they're getting, fairly, that they're getting treated the way that a human being should be treated, and they're getting paid fairly. Their families, their kids are getting the education that they need while their parents are working. And they don't have to be in the farms while their parents are there. So who we're working with is it's really really important for us to work with
Yeah.
farms.
But partnering with these people, what does that mean? How does that work?
So it's mainly us working with them, and one, they're also in like coffee shops. So when we say we're working with them, they're also taking like the opportunity to work with us and educate us if we need to be educated on something. Help us out by roasting the beans for us, and also just like working with them allows us the knowing exactly where our beans come from.
It's a little more intimate,
Yeah.
For the Latino community, coming from a Salvadoran background, when something comes from the motherland, directly from the motherland, and we're proud of it. Like we're like, damn, that's what I want. Even though there's something a little cheaper, maybe a little taste. Nah, I don't want to say instant coffee tastes good. That shit is bad. It's not good. So we're trying to get them away from that. We're like, look, this is from I don't know, I want to say El Salvador because that's who we worked with so far. I'm like, this is from El Salvador, this is from a smaller farm. We can, I guess you can say, like, se puede verificar que el dinero is gonna go straight back for a good cause,
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that like we talked about, like is the money going back? Like one of the people that we worked with told us yesterday that like he wants to be giving money back to help a school that by starting a t-shirt company and pin company. And that just shows like they're really dedicated on giving money back to where they're from, which is really important to us. Because neither one of us are Guatemalan, but my wife is Guatemalan. And I hear like her family stories. And I'm like, I want to give back. I know your grandmother goes back there. I know your tios are out there. The same way, like, she's not Mexican, but she wants to get back to Mexico. Because I am. And it's stuff like that. Like, continuing this cycle of just giving back and making sure that it goes back. So that's why, like, working with people who can tell us, like, yeah, these are my family's farms. These are, like, working directly with them. And the money is going back with them. And they're credible for that is really big to us.
So I know running a business obviously takes a lot of your time, and running a business costs money sometimes. Obviously you have to buy the beans, you have to buy the syrups or anything, all the equipment, and even building a school back in Guatemala takes money, right? So, I mean, you guys are new entrepreneurs, which takes time to build and make enough money to help everyone, right? We can't always help everyone, so how exactly or how much exactly are you guys able to help, or how does this work in return?
So at the moment, like it depends. Whenever we talk to these representatives, we'll be like, we want 10 pounds, 20 pounds of coffee. They'll give us their price, and whatever price they have, it's set. It's not no lowballing. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm buying so many pounds. Maybe you can give it to me cheaper.
If you tell us 10 pounds is $200, we're going to look at each other. We're going to look at the money we've made. We're going to look at our bank accounts. Here's the $200. No questions asked. Why? Because you're telling us that this money is going back to where you guys are from. You're telling us this. You're showing us proof. We're not here to lowball you. I don't want you to come and lowball me and be like, let me get this bag of coffee for like $2. It doesn't work like that. And coffee's valuable. It's livelihood. I don't want someone to be coming back and telling me my worth because of not thinking that they're able to.
Yeah, so I understand that you guys don't want to lowball, but how do you know, or how do you educate yourself on knowing that you guys are not being taken advantage of either?
we learned. It's actually happened already. I'm not gonna be like going into detail, but we did get swindled. we got a price on a coffee that we were waiting for to come straight from El Salvador. And at the last minute when we were there to pick up, it went up, shot up in price. And we were like, what? That's not business. And that's like, as we're being as transparent and as honest as we can be. And I totally understand that, maybe you had to go through some shitty circumstances to, get the coffee out here, but that wasn't our fault,
Correct.
But still, we had arranged that already. We had already been introducing it and kind of like, promoting it and telling people like, hey, we're going to get this coffee from so-and-so farm, and so people were waiting on it. People were excited for it. And we took it, but we talked about it later and we were like, damn, dude, it wasn't a huge amount, but for starting entrepreneurs, for us as a business just starting, it was just kind of like, wow, being it all in, and they were already getting kind of swindled, and dang, that's kind of messed up because.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure the main focus is also making a profit, and when you take a loss, it's not really enjoyable.
It hurts, but I think we just laugh about it now because.
And we made a game plan. Like we are gonna make we did. We're like, dang, we're gonna be kind of negatives, like when it comes down to it. Like we did our math. We did what we did with the first project, and then we were like all bummed. But then we thought about it. She's really good at coming up with game plans, how to portion it, what we can do with it, what we can add to it, how we can kind of promote it a little stronger. And I'm really good at talking to people too. So we just came up with a game plan, and I mean we didn't come out with like a large profit, but we weren't under either. We were like right on the borderline, I guess you can say.
So walk me through like getting the greens and stuff. So you guys get the greens and you guys roast it yourself and promote it?
We do not have like an area to roast. So when I was roasting, I was using a small air popper and then a different like roasting method.
I was using a skillet. Honestly, like legit a skillet.
And it just kind of like, it doesn't have like enough time and effort to like produce the meat, so we get them already roasted. We're looking to get like either a roaster or like finding a place where we could roast, so we could do the green beans. But they go to their roasters and they roast for us. I mean,
and they work really well. Like if I'm not mistaken, the person that's roasted both are Guatemala and El Salvador. It's been the same roaster, and he's a really, really good roaster.
So speaking about money and stuff, the area you guys are selling most of these products and stuff, and the people you're trying to reach out, which is like Latinos, Hispanics, and stuff. Sometimes, and I come from a family where we are very careful where we spend our money. So how challenging is that for you guys when it comes to selling coffee at this location?
It's a little challenging, but it's more of once we start talking, they're kind of like, oh, dang, you guys are genuine. We're telling them that.
Well, actually, it's not that challenging because our prices aren't high. You feel me? Like our pour overs are $2. Our cold brew is $3. If you want to add any syrup, homemade syrup that we've made, it's 50 cents. So it's not an excessive amount of money. So, like at other coffee shops, at another third wave specialty coffee shop, you get a pour over in between $5 to $6, depending what it is, right?
Yeah.
For us, it doesn't matter what it's a $2 set, you know.
And we have a one size, so it's a 12-ounce, $2.
And it's we have it at that price, and we know it's a low price because we come from a Latino background, you know. We know that a lot of like Latinos, they have bigger families. Hispanics have bigger families, and to be paying what $5 for like 4 coffees, that's $20 right there. You know?
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money when you have a big family. So we kind of took that into acknowledgement. I know I did big time because my family they're big coffee drinkers, you know, and so that they don't spend so much money, they were just buying instant coffee, which is like trash, really, you know. And so I was like, I thought about it, and I'm like, nah, like my dad wouldn't buy a coffee at like $6.
Exactly.
So that honestly that attracts them big time.
Yeah.
And they asked us like, wow, why are you selling it so low? And we're like, because this is all about educating, you know. This isn't just about profit for us. This isn't just about, I mean, yeah, money talks, you know. But we're more about educating and having the community recognize us. And that's probably one of our bigger missions. Like,
yeah. Well, for most of these big corporate or big companies, it always comes down to the cost of goods, right? So like the amount they're paying for the cups, the amount they're paying for the coffee, the labor costs and all that. So that's why they price their coffees at a certain price, which for you guys, you know, you guys still have your current jobs and are doing this sort of like as a side hustle. You know, do you guys take in consideration all that labor costs that you guys are missing out on, or
so we're not renting a location right now.
We're not renting. So like the way we kind of figured, we can have this low cost because it's just being heard. We're doing it this way. We've been very blessed that we've been gifted a lot of stuff. So by saying that we've been gifted like cups or like cup carriers or lids, and we're not ashamed to have to like come out of pocket to pay for it.
Yeah.
We came out of pocket to start up. Like that's how we started. Legit always spend like crazy amount of money because we had a lot of stuff, you know. I've had my kettle, I've had my grinder, I've had my Chemex, I had my scale, you know. I had like we both had kind of like things that we could have already used for a pop-up, you know. And then we like I was brewing coffee for my dad one day because every time he comes over to visit me, or really anyone that comes to my house, I'll brew a pour over for them. And he was like, why don't you just post up and like, you know, see how it goes and give people a show, because this is like a show, you know. We don't really see this ever. We're always on the go, or we just kind of don't go into the shops. We just go to the driveway. And this is really cool. Like what you're doing, I like what you're doing. And I was like, dang, that's true. And I asked him like, well, how much would you pay for a cup of coffee? And he was like, oh, I want to pay that much. but just recently she got stopped at Smart and Final. This guy like kind of totally acknowledged us and thanked us for what we were doing for the community. And that honest, like, I know money's gonna come because we're doing this like in a total genuine way. But that felt more than what we've made in one day. Like that was like, wow, dude, and like, all that ranting and screaming and you know, and like trying to get their attention is really work. It's really it's okay, it's working.
And I think the monetary value to us is more of a reward when it comes down to the expression that someone gives us. Like, yeah, the money's coming in, but if that means the money that we're getting is going back straight to buying the water, the beans, the cups, whatever, we're fine with it at this moment, because there's people also like coming out and just, they're happy that they're getting their cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And that means, I think, at least for me, that means more than having like the abundance of money at this moment. When the time comes where we have a shop and all that, we understand like price have to shift. But right now, like with just the pop-ups, it's more of a rewarding feeling to see somebody 100% satisfied rather than
and talking about it, you know, like that's huge. That's huge. Like I don't know, for a minute, honestly, I was just like, man, you know, like people kind of just walk past our table and they're like, man, you know, like, but there's one or two people that we can catch your attention, and I was like, all right, cool. And so the guy even said, like, yeah, people are talking about you in the area, so keep doing what you're doing because you're getting the community's attention. And that's who we were trying to target.
I mean, sometimes there's a lot of people that are curious, right? But they feel a little intimidated to approach or ask questions. You know, not everyone's very social sometimes.
Yeah,
and with what's going on right now too, people just want to like maintain their distance and stuff sometimes.
Yeah. We've had those.
But like you said, you know, part of the way you guys are brewing coffee and stuff, it's for this type of communities, it's new to them, you know. So like these are the communities that don't really step foot into a specialty coffee where they create all this stuff because, you know, it's they're too expensive, or they know that they're not going to enjoy what they're going to be served, or they're thinking that, you know. So you guys are introducing them to that side of the world, you know.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I feel like specialty coffee should be shared with everybody. I totally understand that at a cafe you have to pay rent, you have to pay the labor, and you have to pay all this good stuff, you know. But then I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, man, it kind of sucks. I wish like the community was able to. We don't have that in Mid City. I mean, we have that, but it's very low key, you know.
Yeah.
Very low key, or it's kind of pricey for the area.
And I think that's where it's fair to say we both even talked about it. We don't even know if 100% is going to be a shop. I think we've talked about having like a mobile cafe more than we've talked about actually having a shop. You understand?
Yeah, because we want to be able to. So we're not trying to like go to like these big areas. Yeah, we're trying to target like more footstep, you know. But we're also trying to go where there's like more Latinos, you know, more if there's minorities, more Latino or black community. Just because these are the people that aren't able to get this experience, want to be able to share this experience because it's really beautiful, dude. I mean, just the art of the pour is like it's fun and it's beautiful to see.
Well, talk to me a little bit about the name. How did the Humble Hustle Coffee come upon?
So it's kind of funny. We were like kind of in a stagnant place where we weren't sure, I feel like, about a name. We were kind of like, yeah, we were going to settle for something. And then it was like, I was drawing something because I seen someone he had a tattoo and it said, always humble, but never something, always hustling. And that's the thing. We both work 2 jobs. We both are very humble people when you get to like sit down and have a conversation with us. And I mean, this is what we love. Like coffee is what we love.
And we love to hustle, man.
Yeah, we love it.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I love to work, you know. I'm more on the like active side of kind of things. I'm very siempre me estoy moviendo. I've always worked 2 jobs at a time. Even if it's for necessity or just because, you know, I think I need it, or, you know, it's my thing's always to hustle, like never to have to ask anyone for anything, really. To be able to have to provide it for myself.
Nice.
I mean, like, for a while I was working like 3 jobs. My wife was going to school. She was working too. You know, like that hustle mentality of always wanting to make sure we make our ends meet is there. And I think that, and us being so humble, like we are like, Dee is one of the most humble people I've ever met in this world. Like, she's such a chill person to be around, and her vibes just carry out. I don't feel like I'm always that humble, but like she makes me a lot more humble within everything that happens. Because I'm like, fuck, like there's times where I'm like, fuck, like I want to be out there more. And she's like, you know, if it happens, like if it works out, we got the time. And I'm like,
yeah, you gotta be more on the like. I mean, I don't want to stay realistic. I just want to say more. Like I said, I put thought into a lot of shit. Yeah, I'm definitely home. Like I am always a believer in like what comes around goes around. The way you treat others is the way they're gonna treat you. What you give to the community is what they're gonna give back to you. You know, that's huge for me, and it's always been like that for me, even though it screwed me over in the past. But I still remain humble, dude. Like I still wanna give, and I know it's not always gonna be to get back, but I lately it's been like that, like
Yeah.
or,
So, well, I know you guys are humble. You guys hustle a lot and are workaholics. But how do you guys deal with burnout? I mean, you guys have to be exhausted, you know?
I burn out.
We are. I use it like my time to just spend it with my wife, and also like if I am not with my significant other, I'm like home alone, just like relaxing. And sometimes my Zen moments also create like new recipes for syrups and stuff like that. Just being able to not do anything but just chill out, just sit here with my dogs or my cats and just hang out. That just really helps with my burnout.
Mine is just being outdoors. I love being outdoors. I love hiking. I'm a runner, so I love running outdoors. Yeah, my dogs, like I'll legit pack them up in the car and be like, let's go. Let's go. I don't know where, but let's go to the beach. Let's go to the hiking. Let's go to the dog park. I can hang out at the dog park for hours.
And I'm also grateful for that. She's brought me out to the
yeah, I'll be like, hey, you want to go to the dog park with me? I'm going to go hang out.
And we'll just take her dogs. I take my little one and we're like out there.
Yeah. And then sleep, dude. Like if my body's asking for sleep, I'll crash at freaking 7 or 8 on my day off, and I'll rewire, and that's how it keeps going. I mean, it's tough sometimes because it's like I feel like sometimes when it's 7 days, like 7 week, 7 days a week, it's like nonstop work. When it's busy or like it's yeah, it's kind of hard, but it's like you have to think about like, dang, dude, I'm doing for the pop up, for example. I'm like, screw it, I don't care how tired I am. I'm gonna do it. Like this is what I want to do. It's what I have fun doing. It's what I'm passionate about. And then at the cafe, I mean, I actually genuinely love working at at Demitas. You know, like I love it. It's full of coffee nerds, and that's who I want to be surrounded by. You can never learn enough about coffee. So
Amazing. Well, when you guys are decompressing or when you guys are working on bar, and you guys listen to music and stuff, what's your music choice?
Mine, I play Osomatli.
I like
I got my coworker. I just found out my boss is a big Osomatli fan. My boss is Bobby from Benatas. And he came into the shop one day and he was like, hey, who is this? I'm like, it's Osomatli. He's like, I love Osomatli. I was like, me too. So, yeah, that's my go-to playlist.
I really do not listen to music that often. I'm a very strange person. I got a habit from my dad. I like to chill in silence. If I do listen to music, I'm from a very small agriculture town, so country is always on my playlist.
That's so crazy because my dad grew up with music. That's why we're so
My dad hates music. It will be the longest, awkwardest car ride because we'll go from my town because he's the truck driver, so we'll drive to God knows where near Oregon, and it's dead silent. And we're like,
oh my God, and I'm like the opposite. I need music. I cannot. Yeah. I can't drive without it. I can't work without it. I like music is my life. I love music.
It's either that, silence, podcast, or I'll just put on some country. My wife makes me get out of my little country bubble. She'll put on reggaeton, and if I'm not, I'm listening to Ramona Ella in my feels, thinking of not somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, Tigres, things like that. My genre will vary if I'm in a mood, but go to country.
All right. And what about during shift changes or moving to your other job and stuff? You guys ever have time to have lunch or eat food and stuff?
I do. I don't know about you.
I mean, I'll get like a pastry or something from there. But no, during the day I eat in the morning and then I'll eat in the afternoon when I get home from work.
What would you say? What would you say is like one of your favorite meals?
My favorite meal?
Is there a price limit?
No, like anything? Are you speaking about anything?
Yeah, anything that you personally like.
Pastelitos. I love pastelitos salvadoreños. Pues son picadillo inside and some curtido. Oh, that's my favorite.
Nice.
Pastelitos.
My favorite thing in this world. If you can put boiling crab in front of me every single day of the week, that is my go-to. I love shrimp. I love seafood.
Amazing. What about for you two? What are you guys have any secret talents? Anything you guys want to share to the world? Do you guys sing in the shower? Do you guys?
I love karaoke, dude. If I have like a couple drinks or something, I'll take over the mic. I don't know how to sing. I suck at singing, but I love karaoke. I love to sing. My hobby is running. I love to run also.
Fun? Nice.
I guess like my secret talent. My grandma taught me how to crochet when I was younger.
Oh, that's cool.
So, all of us know how to crochet in my family. My brother though can crochet better than any of us, and I'm like, he could also sew. And I'm like, cool. I can sew a little bit, but he's over here making dolls for my niece, and I'm like, hate you.
Making you a sweater for Christmas and stuff. You know?
Yeah, he's like, here's a blanket. I'm like, what?
Nice. What about your favorite coffee drink now?
Mine used to be like a 4-shot. We're gonna start with Starbucks. Mine used to be a 4-shot caramel macchiato with a shitload of caramel. This was like 10 years ago. This was like when I was like still like in my like early 20s. Now I go straight to pour overs, man. I go see what they got on their menu for pour over, and I'll check it out, and then I'll also get a shot of espresso to see what their espresso is like. And it's kind of pour overs. I love pour overs.
Pour overs. If they have it, if not, a drip. That's normally what I go to. When I want to feel fancy, I'll get an Americano.
I love Americano.
And I'm a cold brew person. I am a very big cold brew person. I will check how their cold brew is. And, if it sucks, I'm like, I've gone to places and paid like $7 for cold brew, and I'll like drink it, and I'll be like, this is shit.
I didn't even like cold brew until she started making cold brew. I was not about cold brew. Like, I didn't like it. It tasted nasty to me. I was just like, man, maybe it's just the cold brew that I tried, or that I had tried. But she started making some fire cold brew. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just
good beans, proper ratios,
Probably, but yeah.
Smaller batches.
Nice. Well, I know Andy says she also listens to little podcasts on drives and stuff. Who would you guys say are your most inspirational people, or people that you guys look up to?
I look up to my grandma. That was like my biggest influence for like my biggest work ethic, and my sister. My sister, they both raised me. They both instilled like this very strong work ethic, and like you don't bitch when it gets hard. You can bitch to other people, but like you go to work no matter what.
Yeah.
Are you speaking podcasts or like in general?
In general, yeah. I was just saying.
Okay. Dang. Well, now because I have both in my mind. For podcasts, I do. I really, really respect that I eat from Poderosa podcast, and also Carla from that Latin Nation.
Nice.
Latin Nation podcast. Besides that. Generally, my sister is someone that I definitely have mad respect for, like super good too. She's, yeah.
Amazing.
I think it's fair to say my elders are who I look up to.
Yeah,
Just thinking about my parents. I think about my brother right now, and I'm like, and my brothers came so far in life. Like, I'm proud of him. I look up to him. I want to be just like him when I'm older. Like, he's came so far. I'm like, oh. And I know he's going to listen to this, so I'm proud of you.
Amazing. Well, with all this that you guys are doing and accomplishing and stuff, do you guys have something to share with like someone who wants to start, say, their own pop-up or have the same goal to create their own business and stuff? Like, what is one thing you guys can share, you know, like in order to get someone to start?
Yeah, for me, just kind of, yeah, like figure out what you want, and if you're passionate about it, you know, make it happen. Because passion is what makes anything happen. You know, it gives you the drive, it gives you the like, te da las fuerzas de seguir. It's big. It's that, and just stay humble, man. Stay humble and honest. You know, it's just all about staying humble and transparent, not just with your customers, not just with but with people you're working with. Just someone you meet off the street, you know, and that's huge. Just that if anything, like a lot of people have told us, you know, that's good what you're doing. Stick with it, and
It'll grow.
it'll grow. And just stay humble. That's a big one for me.
I think for me, it's don't be afraid. Jump in. Like, eventually, you're gonna learn how to swim. You're not gonna let yourself drown. You're gonna take in a little bit of water once in a while, but eventually, you'll keep kicking and you'll be able to save yourself.
I like that.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. It really works out. Like, I guess trust in your higher power, and somebody's always watching over you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sometimes fear is what holds people back. Sometimes, you know.
We were actually kind of scared to start. Like we were like, so I had told her my dad's idea. I was like, hey, what do you think if we do this whole pour over setup, and you know, and all we really need is a generator, because I had everything. Like I had a table, I had a canopy, like we had everything. She had her setup, and we just needed something to connect it with. Like we just needed power, electricity, you know, the electricity, and I told her, I was like, all we really need is like just this generator, because from the start, my Bobby and you know, people that we've been working with, they've been really, you know, really like cool with us. They haven't like overpriced us for anything, you know. We pitch them our like what we have going on, and they're like, oh dang, okay, I like that. Well, you know, here's this, and then in the future, like let's work on this, and we can get a better deal on this, and it's so that's worked out, because at first I was like, dang, like what if we don't have enough money for this? What if we, you know, this happens, or I don't know. But nah, dude, like none of the whole fear that I had, none of the fears that I had, they just kind of like on themselves, like by themselves, gone away.
I think stop thinking about the what ifs, because when we first started talking about it, it was like what if, and the more we go on, it's like the what ifs are a very far thing in our mind. And then once we're out there, for example, we were out there Monday and Tuesday, we had like 4 customers. We just sat there, we talked, we vibed, we were chilling, and like it didn't matter if we had the 4 customers or not, or if we had like 27 customers. It was the fact that like we were still out there, we were getting our name. So like, just keep driving is like what's been pushing us, and like it doesn't matter if we don't make sales, we make sales, as long as they get to see our name. Like the sales are important, but we're just trying to get out there still.
Yeah, I like that. So I know people can find you across the library on Washington, Irving Libraries, right?
Yeah.
To get a delicious cup of coffee. But what about social media? Do you guys have any social media presence? Where can people find you?
We have Humble Hustle Coffee. We're on Instagram at Humble Hustle Coffee. We have our personal Instagrams that we're also posting more coffee content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mine is d.cm16, DEE.cm16.
Mine is Eco Hippie, ECO_hippie, HIPPIE, and you can find me on Twitter, where I will rant about coffee. Shit. because I will see someone tag Starbucks and something. I'm like, fuck you, even though you pay me.
So that's awesome. Well, I want to give a shout out to the coffee community, and how even you and I connected, because shout out to Casey, who is the one who.
Hey, Casey, that's the homie.
I don't know you, but thank you, Casey.
Yeah. What a small world. Like, I was telling him about, because we met up by my job, and I was like, he's like, you just getting off? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dang, you stay working, girl. And I'm like, yeah, dude. So I told him, like, well, look, it's because I have this and so, and we just started this pop-up, and he was like, hey, like, one of my really, really good friends has this pop-up, this podcast, and I was like, holy shit, I follow him already. Dude, so mad shout out to Casey.
Right.
Mad shout out to Casey.
Well, so the other person, I actually did see your pop-up before even like following you or noticing you guys. I saw Barista Life LA posting something.
Yes, that's
yeah. So I saw Lanisa posting her first sip and stuff, and Andy was on the background. I didn't know it was a pop-up. I just know she got her coffee there, and that was it.
She's one of our like first supporters. Funny story. I just randomly hit her up, dude. I just hit her up on Instagram because she's a freaking knowledgeable barista, and I wanted to learn from her. I wanted to talk to her, and I was like nervous that she was gonna be like, look, I'm too busy right now, or I have this stuff going on, and now she took the time out of her day to like to chat with us. We met at Good People Coffee. We talked for like about an hour or two, and we just talked about everything. And then she's been supporting us since like day one. She's
amazing. That's what I like about coffee, and the whole reason why I created this podcast also is to bring the community closer together.
Yeah.
I'm a high believer of the 3 C's, which is coffee, culture, and community, and that's what it's all about. So
yeah, it's yeah, you're right. The coffee community has been amazing to us. We've met some really, really amazing people that are doing really, really cool stuff for the coffee community. JJ and Linda and Kenny, JJ and Linda are from Cafe Guayua, and those were the first people that legit took their time out of their day to like meet with us and partner with us. And then Kenny from Cafe Orgullo Celeste, he's been super cool and super supportive with us too.
Amazing. Yeah, but you shouldn't be shy or afraid or nervous or scared to reach out to all these other people, because what's the worst that could happen, right? They say no.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought when I was like, I hit her up and I was like, hey, I hit up Lanisa and let's see, if you want to go with me to meet up with her, like, let's go. She seems cool. And she was, man, like she was. And yeah, and I met a couple, and through the coffee community, it's like a chain.
Yeah.
Meeting really, really amazing people, really, really supportive people, and that's beautiful, honestly.
Exactly.
I'm like falling more in love with the coffee community than I was.
Or are you guys like ever planning on like competing or getting in the coffee world competition?
I'm not a big competitor. I like, there's a different world. There's the barista competition, the baristas that love competition. And I guess maybe there's the baristas that just love it for the love of coffee,
Yeah. I'm saying that because like obviously you guys brew your own cold brew and stuff, and in Coffee Fest there's the cold brew competition. There's barista championships where they have Brewers Cup. So obviously you like brewing Chemex. Like, have you guys ever thought about doing any of that stuff?
I don't think we've thought about it. If it happens, it happens. I think is my mentality. Like if one day that we're like, you know what, we should do it, then I think we'll do it. But
yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a big competitor, but I mean, I know it would be fun to do it.
Yeah.
Like I know, I would do it. I would do it. I am also big on like latte art and all that good stuff. So why not have like a little fun, right? But just for fun, for the love of coffee, why not?
Andy, thank you very much for your time. D, I really appreciate it, and I can't wait till I stop by your stand and get a good cup of coffee. I would definitely love to try your cold brew.
Yes,
And-
yes.
and
You
your
got some
Chemex.
crazy syrups to match the coffee, the cold brew with?
I heard you were working on a jalapeno syrup. Like, that's just like mind blowing.
I mean, I would probably think about it.
Dang. We have some pretty cool syrups. Like we got some interesting homemade everything. We're switching. We're gonna go a little healthier and switch from sugar to agave. So we definitely are listening to what the community is saying to us because that's what they've been asking for too, you know. And we've experimented. She's experimented and we taste bomb. So big things coming. Big things.
We have a cafe de olla syrup that really does make you feel back home.
Nice.
In your house, sitting down watching.
Well, I can't wait to try that. You know, I'll keep up with you guys on Instagram, and hopefully on one of my days off, I can cruise by. And,
Yeah, please
sure.
do. We'd love to brew you a cup of coffee and try the cold brew. But definitely, you know, it's a fun little spot. We got music going. We got the kettles going. So.
Amazing.
Scroll through. This is our baby. We love it very much. We want everybody to just come and experience it at least once.
Appreciate it, guys.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. See you guys until next time. Appreciate it.